Hey there, IT 140 students. So in this recording, we're going to talk about the third lab for Module 3. And in this one, you have to determine change given um, a total value to return. So it works like this, where we are going to determine how many dollars, quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies are returned to the customer. They do want us to use singular and plural names as appropriate. So if we only have one penny, we give it as one penny. Otherwise, it's two pennies. Now, keep in mind the easy one here is if the change is zero or they even say less than zero, then we just simply print out the output of no change. So that's the really easy case. Otherwise, the more difficult cases go like this. So 45 cents would be returned as a quarter and 2 dimes. So 25 cents plus 20 cents is the 45 cents right there. In addition to just 45, we could have 145. So these could be greater than 100. So 145 would be a dollar, the quarter, and then the 2 dimes. Okay. So keep in mind that we need to be able to handle things that could be greater than 100. So here's kind of how I would take a look at the code. I would have the input value, so whatever the input value is as an integer. And then we're going to have variables for how many dollars, quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies that we have. So along the way, what we want to do is we want to start at the top and work our way down. So I would do number of dollars, and the calculation that you're going to want to do is to take the input value and get the floor based on the currency for the type. Okay, so what this floor does is it's going to do division, but it's always going to round it down. So for instance, if I had 145, let me see if I can find my calculator on my screen here. Hold on. So I got my calculator here. So if I took 145, if I divide by 100, the floor is going to give me the bottom integer. So it's going to give me this 1, okay? Which makes sense because I should be getting $1 back. Now, I know that I'm going to have $1 here. Keep in mind that the next thing that I need to do is I need to update my input value. So input value is going to now become, I only want the 45 cents. So I'm going to take the number of dollars that I have times its value, which is 100. Okay, and so this pattern right here is going to repeat for the quarters, the nickels, the dimes, and so forth. Okay, so again, go from top down just like you see here. Oh, by the way, when you get down underneath the nickels, so when you get down here after you've handled nickels, number of pennies is just going to be whatever you have left. Okay, so it's going to be input value, whatever's left. All right, so now that I know how many dollars, quarters, and everything that I need, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do an if my number of dollars is greater than 0. So that means I do have some. So if it's greater than 0, we want to print out that number of dollars. So print out number of dollars. So that's going to give me my integer part. Okay, so this gives me my integer part right here, but we also need to check to see if it's plural. So if it is greater than 1, then it's got to be plural. So we're going to say dollars. Otherwise, we're going to print out dollar. Okay, so keep that in mind that as you go through these currencies, you're going to check to see if it is a plural version or not. So this is very similar to the pseudocode that you're going to be implementing right there. And then once you do dollars, the next thing you do is quarters and so forth. And then at the very end, I would check if the input value is less than or equal to 0. If that's the case, then we would print no change to them. In fact, maybe what I actually would have done is I would have done this right here. So if input value is less than or equal to 10, we print no change right here. Otherwise, we do all this work down here. Okay, so this would all be indented inside there. So the pseudocode is kind of right here. Again, I've given you a lot of good code that you can look at. So you're going to work top down, and keep in mind you're going to be implementing the currency values as you move along. Okay.